Shabbat Shalom. We'll begin our service on page 332, Yedid Nefesh, Heart's Delight. Draw us into your arms. I leap like a deer and stand in awe before you. Your love is sweeter to me than the taste of honey. So many of the images of Yedid Nefesh seem to resonate with Rosh Hashanah, which is just 1 week away. So we'll begin our service on 332 with this beautiful love poem to guide us into the sweetness of Shabbat. Yedid nefesh, havarakaman, mishoch avdecha, eritzonecha. Yarot savdeka kemo hayam, yishtakave el mul hadareka, yeravo yedidutecha, minofetzu vechotam Adonai ziv haolam nafshi cholat avatecha hana refanala beharot la noam zivega az titkalzek vetitrape vehaita la simchat olam. Yare rai 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 rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai rai rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai rai rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai rai rai, yare rai 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 rai, yare rai 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 rai. Yare rai 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 rai.
Good Shabbos. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to everyone who is here in our chapel, and welcome to those of you who are joining us online. Welcome to you who call this place your home, one of your homes, and welcome to those of you who are new or new-ish. We're looking forward to meeting you and greeting you after the service. Psalm 27, which is the psalm of the season, asks and says, one thing, as Rabbi Silverman said, one thing, but then asks for three things. But it says, one thing I ask of God, only that do I seek, to live in the house of God all the days of my life, to gaze upon the grandeur of God and to return again and again to God's abode. We sing these words before the shofar blast each day during the month of Elul. Of course, this is our final Friday night to be doing this ritual, because next Friday night it will, in fact, be Rosh Hashanah and no longer the month of Elul. Each time drawing closer and closer to the moment of return. The psalm evokes comfort and a sense of home, I hope, and belonging that each of us longs for, especially at this time of year. Belonging to God, belonging to community, and belonging to ourselves. So many of you have shared with me in recent days and recent weeks how you are feeling that call toward home at this time of year. And I think it's innate in our community as the seasons change to feel it. May the words that we're about to sing not only describe our deepest desires as the new year approaches, but also prescribe for us our holy work. May we not only long for home, but build home. Build a world in which we feel God's presence close by and are always welcomed back into it, no matter how long we have been gone. The experiencing of that kind of world is in our hands in many ways. We build it for one another, so may that also be what we draw from this moment. Page 358, followed by our shofar blast to prepare us to awaken to the work of teshuvah, repentance, repair, and that constant and never-ending call to return.
Akat Shabti Meit Adonai Ota Bakesh. Akat Shabti Meit Adonai Ota Bakesh. Shifti befet Adonai koyemekayai Lakazot benom Adonai ulevake bechalom Lakazot benom Adonai ulevake bechalom Akat Shabti Meit Adonai Ota Bakesh. Akat Shabti Meit Adonai Ota Bakesh. Call forward Ben Jaffe, our shofar blower, and rise for the shofar. Tekiah, Shivarim, 3. It's been a year. Teruah, and Tekiah Gedolah. Please be seated.
Yasher koach, Ben. If there was a shofar drop, you could absolutely drop that shofar after that. We now end this Friday afternoon and begin a new day with the kindling of our Shabbat lights. It becomes a holy and sanctified kind of time. And it's made that way because our intentions change. Our expectations and our intentions change. And let that be a reminder to us about the power of those capacities inside of us. So to kindle our Shabbat lights, it is a joy, a delight to invite forward G. Park, Danny Engelberg, and Lily Engelberg. I don't see Izzy yet. No, Izzy, right? Okay. Come forward, please.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. We rise, page 5 for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikrahe kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta Mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
It's great. Yeah, it's great juice. And as you all proceed to your seats, we want to thank you for your commitment to building an equitable city. Even today, as we read of the horrific conditions in which children were held under our watch in Louisiana, we are grateful for your leadership and those of your colleagues to bring justice to our criminal legal system. And also, Yasher Koach to you, Danny, on your first 6 months as Chief Defender for New Orleans. May you all, your wonderful family, find many blessings in the new year. Yasher Koach, you may be seated.
We turn to page 12 for a psalm that introduces us to prayer every Friday night. L'chunu ranana, come let us sing. And we'll sing it in a familiar way tonight. And then tomorrow night we'll sing it again in a very different way. Tonight we take those words so literally. Come, let's sing together. Let's rejoice in Shabbat and celebrate Shabbat. Tomorrow night, the tone changes entirely, but these same words introduce us to the Slichot service. Instead of, come, let us sing in this exact moment together, tomorrow night, these words mean, come, let us begin a journey together, a journey through these holy days together. And it will sound truly as different tomorrow night as could be from the way we sing it tonight. But first, let's all sing and join our voices together in this room that magnifies them and mixes them together so beautifully. Page 12, L'chunu ranana. L'chunu ranana l'Adonai nariya letzor yishenu nekadma panav betoda bizmirot nariya lo Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai bartu shemo, basru miyom leyom yeshuato, sapru v'koyim kevodo b'kol ha'amim niflotav. Ki gadol Adonai, hulam me'od, norahu, hakol Elohim, yayrei, Legato D, page 20, we'll sing verses 1, 8, and 9. Legato D, likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela, Legato Di likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela. Shamor v'zachor, v'dibor echad, Hishmiyanu el hameyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad, L'shemo tiferet velitila, Legato Di likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela, Legato Di likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela. Verse 8. Yaminu smol tifrotzi vet Adonai taritzi hayad ish ben patzi venismecha venagila Legato Di likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela, Legato Di likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela.
Verse 9, please rise as we face the door and welcome in the image of the Shabbat bride to our midst.
Bohi v'shalom, hateret bala, gam besimcha uvzola, toch emuneh ham segula, boi chala, Legato Di likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela, Legato Di likrat kala, Pene Shabbat nekapela. Pene Shabbat nekapela.
You can be seated. It's the best time of the week for some of us when we get to invite up our youngest guests and congregants who are here tonight to come on up for their Shabbat blessing. Even if you're new, even if you're not sure if I mean you, I do mean you. If you haven't yet been up on a bima to become bar or bat mitzvah, if you're not 13, It's your turn to come on up and join us up here on the bima. You can sit anywhere up here, next to Rabbi Bowman, next to Mr. Kevin. Come on up. Maybe you had a great week. Maybe you didn't. Maybe it was somewhere in between. I bet a lot of us out here can relate to that. But this is your moment for some deep breaths and to reset and to remember that next week it starts all over again. You can have the best attitude and perspective you would like because this Shabbat gets to clear everything away. Come on up.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Ken yehi ratzon Yaher Adonai panav elecha vichunecha Ken yehi ratzon Yisa Adonai panav elecha Ve'yasem lecha shalom Ken yehi ratzon
For anyone whose little ones are going to babysitting, please make sure one of their big people escorts them and says hello to the babysitting team before you come on back. We'll see you all at dinner. Continue on page 28 and the following pages with Baruch Hu and our blessings for transition from day into evening, from the week into Shabbat. 1 week from tonight, a transition from 1 year into the next. And of course, our blessing for the peace that comes with that. We rise on page 28 and following for Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Vaed
Top of page 31, we read together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity.
6 lines. 6 lines from the bottom in the Hebrew. Umavir yom umevi laila umavdil ben yom uven laila Adonai tzvot shemo el chai v'kayam Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam Baruch atah Adonai Amari Baravi.
Page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. Together, what could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form?
The very last line in Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Yairai, 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 yairai. Page 34. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
You can be seated. Page 36. Ve'ata et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha baderech uvshokbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet.
We turn to page 40 for Micha Mocha. Micha Mocha, our song and our prayer of redemption that acquires the flavor of the season, the melody of the season, in Aramaic, Nigun de Yoma. So we sing the theme song of the holiday for each season at this time in our services, and with the high holidays upon us, it is time for us to sing Micha Mocha, just as we will on Rosh Hashanah evening and at the Kol Nidre service. We'll begin with the Nigun and then sing Micha Mocha. And just a little bit later, when we enter the Amidah, there too we'll start singing high holiday tunes so that we can better sing together in just 1 week as we greet the new year. Page 40, Micha Mocha. Yai, hai, 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 hai. Mi kamocha bailim Adonai, mi kamocha netar bakodesh, nora tehilot tosefele, malechutecha rahuvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeheli Hanu ve'hameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'nehemar kipad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai Gai Yisrael.
Page 43. Read together at the bottom of the page one of our many blessings asking for peace. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom, aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Page 44.
Yismechu v'malchutecha shomerei Shabbat v'korei honeg Hamekadeshei shevi kulam yisbehu v'hitangu lituvecha V'hashvi ratzita bo v'kirashto Chemdat yamim moto karata Zecher l'maseh bereshit Zecher l'maseh bereshit.
Page 46 and following, we rise for the Amidah, succession of prayers that give us a moment to stand for what we believe in, to recall our ancestors, to be grateful for the power that we are all vested with and those around us can share with us, and of course for the joy and beauty of this Shabbat day. Page 46.
Adonai sepatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון. גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבו. זוכרנו לחיים, מלך חפץ בחיים, וכותבנו בספר החיים, למענך אלוהים חיים. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אמן. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל. מקלקל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים רופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתו מלך, מלך ממיתום חיי ומצמיח ישועה. מי כמוך אהב הרחמים, זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אמן. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Page 59. Together at the top of the page. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all of these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Take a few moments now for our own silent prayer.
Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Page 253. As in all of our services, we take a moment to keep in mind those in our lives, in our circles, in our community, who are in need of blessings and prayers for healing, whether it's of their body or of their spirit or of their mind. We hold them in our minds, hold them in our hearts, know that they can, perhaps with some love and support from us, attain what we know is their potential and what we know is the complete version of themselves. And on page 253, we offer this blessing of Mi Sheberach.
Mi Sheberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel veLeah, Hu yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Elna refana, Elna refana la, Elna refana, Elna refana, Mi Sheberach Avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak veYaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel veLeah, Hu yevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim.
As we've noted, a week from tonight, we will gather in the sanctuary to observe the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. And Rosh Hashanah itself is the beginning of a holiday season during which we and Jews around the world will perform rites and rituals that are among the most famous and well-known in our tradition. Going to synagogue, hearing the shofar, eating apples and honey, singing Avinu Malkeinu and Kol Nidre, fasting on Yom Kippur, building a sukkah, parading around the sanctuary with the Torah, and the list goes on, of course. These visible and tangible and even tasteable traditions proceed year after year, relatively unchanged. This is how we've always done it and what we always do. They are touchstones, and their constancy is a part of what brings us comfort. And isn't it ironic then that such external constancy represents so much internal change? Our outwardly recognizable behaviors during this high holiday season signal that we are undergoing, hopefully, an internal an invisible experience during which we hope that we will emerge different, more honest, stronger. The actual process of teshuvah, of turning and returning and repenting, cannot actually be seen, but only felt by the people with whom we share our lives, and felt by our own souls as we cleanse and renew them through confession and apology and forgiveness and resolution. Judaism as a religious tradition brought this revolutionary idea into the world thousands of years ago, that what we cannot see is often, maybe always, more important than what we can see. The ancient world was a tangible one, rich with deities connected to what could be seen, whether the sun or the moon or the idols that represented them. Gods in the ancient world were connected to actual places, and battles won and lost in those places communicated the relative power of those gods. Judaism presented the world with an entirely different perspective. Ancient Israel developed a religious tradition that offered an invisible, non-corporeal God that lives everywhere, a God that is so enigmatic and so pervasive that no graven images or artistic representations of that God could ever be made, because they would be so inadequate to the magnitude of this presence. And this God would be connected not to a territory, but to a people and a set of practices, and not the mightiest people, but the humblest, to a refugee people, to an enslaved people and their descendants. And the way to access this God, it was discovered, would be through performance of righteous acts and observance of a set of laws and practices, through deep learning and teaching, and through sacrificial prayer, through a covenant, and then through covenantal behavior. Judaism's emphasis on the invisible, on the internal, persisted throughout the ages. That internal courage and internal presence became the trademark of our tradition, and this is illustrated perfectly, I think, in a well-known passage from the Mishnah, Pirkei Avot, you may be familiar with. Ben Zoma Omer, Ezehu Acham, Halomed Mikol Adam. Who is wise? The one who learns from everyone. Ezehu Gibor, who is strong? Hakoveshet Yitzro, the one who is able to control themselves. Ezehu Ashir, who is rich? The one who is happy with their portion. Hasameach B'chalcho. And who is honored? Ezehu Michubad, Hamechabed et Habriot, the one who honors fellow human beings. This teaches, if we are perpetual students in life, experiencing each person we meet as a possible teacher, then we are considered wise. If we are able to manage our own impulses and regulate our own emotions, then our tradition says we are strong. If we are able to live in a state of gratitude for what we have, not what we can accumulate, but what we already have, then we are rich. And if we can honor others, then we are honored. All invisible, unseen criteria, unseeable criteria for these praiseworthy states of being, and all with an eye toward what our impact might be on others, not what they can think of and see about us. This week's double portion, Nitzavim Vayelech, is, of course, one of the last in the Torah, and we will read from it again on Yom Kippur in the morning, just before we begin the entire scroll again from the very beginning. We find in this parsha Moses reestablishing the covenant between God and Israel, reminding the Israelites famously that the covenantal behavior that they have taken upon themselves to do, as articulated at Mount Sinai, is to be the responsibility of not only all those who were at Sinai, but all those who would descend from them, no matter how far into the future. And most significantly in this week's parsha, Moses is preparing for his own death by transferring leadership to Joshua, speaking last words to the Israelites and leaving instructions for them that he hopes they will follow. Moses' behavior in this parashah hints at a related way that our tradition elevates the invisible, and that is through consideration of legacy. Moses' great concern before he dies, his concerns are not that all his worldly possessions be gathered to him, but rather that all the people who rely upon him be gathered to him, so he can speak to them one more time. Moses longs not for status at the end of his life, but for meaning, a way to live on through a positive impact of his life on others. And he achieves that meaning not through the establishment or creation of a monument to himself, but through sharing of wisdom and guidance and trust and love. Again, the contrast between what we know about ancient Near Eastern burial customs, especially in Egypt, for example, and the contrast between that and what Moses is seeking and in this parsha is striking. And it is instructive for us as we anticipate the new year and consider our impact on the world and how we wish to leave it whenever we do. In our Torah, we know we are made in God's image. We learn that in the very beginning. What that means is that we have the capacity to behave as God behaves, that we have divinely sourced goodness inside of us, that it is our task to let out throughout our lives. And we also know that through a Jewish lens, divinely sourced goodness, like the divine presence itself, is an invisible, impactful companionship that we offer one another in our lives, and it guides us. That we can feel and perceive it, but we cannot fully describe it. We only know it when we experience it. And if we are to be imitating God, then as we approach this season, no matter our age or phase of life, we must consider our legacy in the way that Moses does in this week's parsha. What is left of us when we are no longer visible must be the feeling of the goodness that is in us, the greatness of our learnings, the generosity of our spirit, and the constancy of our love, all invisible, but all felt and life-changing. This is a tall order, much harder in a way than blowing the shofar or building a sukkah or even sitting through hours and hours of services. Harder than that. The invisible interior changes that we are all working to cultivate at this time of year are the stuff that our legacies are made of. So let us do what Moses urges the people to do, and what he urges of Joshua and offers Joshua in this week's Torah portion. During this high holiday season, chizku v'imtzu, may we be strong and of good courage as we, yes, in an atmosphere of community and tradition and ritual, turn inward and face the parts of us that no one can see, and mine it for that divinely sourced goodness that we wish to leave behind for those we love and the world we cherish. Shabbat Shalom. Our concluding prayers begin on page 282. We rise as the ark is open. It is upon our shoulders, Aleinu, to build the world we wish to see.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula le'otzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyeh haratzot, belo samanu k'mishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechohamonam, ba'anachnu korhim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamelachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad.
You may be seated. we devote this moment to those who have died and the sacred act of remembrance. We think of those who died in recent hours and days and weeks, and those who died at this season in years past. Before we share these beloved names, offer this poem of Chana Senesh, also about legacy. We think of what we leave behind and how it can continue to shine. And she wrote, "There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember. It is our custom that if you hear a name to which you are linked in love, friendship, connected to your life, you're invited to rise at that time. And then after our entire list is shared, we'll all rise together as a community. We send our love and support to the loved ones of Natsu McDonald, who died just today and who'll be laid to rest in future days. For Shiva this week, we recall with love Daniel Goldberg. For Shloshim, those who died within the last 30 days, we think of and remember with love Shirley Erickson and Sherwin Zimmerman. And for Yartzeit on this Shabbat, those who died at this season in years past, we remember Henry Berlin, Harriet Levy Felix, Minnie Sarnoff Fireman, Nat Friedler, Saul Grishman, Ophelia P. Hausman, Alex Hochstein, Julius Kaplan, Gustav J. Klotz Jr., Sarah Cohn, Murray J. Copps, Herbert Charles Leopold, Max H. Levy, Henry Schwartz, Lester Benjamin Shapiro, Vivian Mayer Teague, Reuben Weaker, Isaac Wadowski, and Andre Zilberman. If you came to say Kaddish for anyone whose name I didn't read, please rise and share their name now if you wish. For all those we say aloud, for all those we carry in our hearts each and every time this prayer is uttered, we rise together, page 294, and with one voice and one heart we declare, Yitkadal, Yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'amad Yibrach Yurte, V'yamlich Malchute, V'chayachon U'vyomechon, V'yedecho Beit Yisrael, Bagalav V'zman Kariv Imru Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbam V'rach V'olam U'ameh Amaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yita'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh. V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitawal Shemei V'yishach V'yitfu. V'yimam Minkol V'yachata V'shirata. V'yishchata V'yachata. Amiran V'yama V'yimru Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayim Alei V'yisrael. V'yimru Amen. Say Shalom L'Imamah. Say Shalom. Aleinu Vel Kol Yisrael. V'yimru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, and may God comfort all those who are bereaved. We say together, Amen. Amen. You may be seated. It is a pleasure to be joined on the bima this evening by our Executive Vice President, Kevin Wilkins. I'd love to invite you forward, Kevin, to make announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. So nice to see everyone this evening. Thank you for Danny, Lee, and Lily for lighting our Shabbos candles tonight. And congratulations on the new position. The greeters, we'd like to thank Sarah Gershon and Bill Purcell. And thank you, Ben Jaffe, for a beautiful blowing of the shofar. With gratitude for the beautiful pulpit flowers in memory of Herbert Charles Leopold by the Leopold family, in memory of Julius Kaplan by Deborah and Bruce Spritzer and family. So there's a lot going on. Shabbat morning experiences. So Shabbat morning begins with Torah studies at 9 a.m. This week, Jeffrey Luria will be leading the discussion. Berina services begins at 10:30 in the special blessing of Mildred Millie May Wayner, daughter of Marcel and Josh Wayner. Mazel tov to the Wayner family. Kahila Kedosha will begin at 10:30 a.m. in Jacob's Social Hall, and all are invited to stay for lunch following services. Tomorrow's Shabbat luncheon is generously given in honor of the naming of Mildred May Wayner by Marcel and Josh Wayner. Our high holiday season begins tomorrow evening, with the beautiful service of Slichot. It includes a darkened sanctuary, meditative music with Touro Synagogue choir, and poems and reflections about forgiveness. We hope you all can join us beginning at 8 p.m. in the main sanctuary. For a full schedule of what's to come this high holiday season, we encourage you all to view our 5784 brochure. It is both functional and informative, and it will lay out everything you need to know about what's going to go on for the high holy days. You can find them in the back when you're leaving. Then you can also find more details about Taslik celebration in collaboration with Sherry and Alan Leventhal Center for Interfaith Families, as well as our special guests on Shabbat Shuvah, Governor John Bell and Mrs. Donna Edwards. All are welcome for Shabbat dinner after the service in the Grant Meyer Garden Pavilion. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Danny and G and Lily. And also wanted to say that one slight tweak to the details that Kevin shared, that 8 o'clock begins the dessert reception for Slichot, and 8:45 begins the service. So if you've had a really good year and you don't feel like you have that much to ask forgiveness for, come at 8 o'clock, we'll fix it. And then at 8:45, you can go to the service for pray. But it is a very beautiful service. Our choir will offer some spectacular music to start the holiday season. And if you haven't ever been to Slichot, especially if you haven't ever been to Slichot, it is really a service like no other throughout the year, and I encourage you to try it. It's a very powerful way to begin that internal work that we talked about.
We'll also, in addition to our choir, we'll be joined by principal viola player for the LPO, Richard Worley, for this service. Tomorrow morning at Berina, I just want to thank in advance the many, many volunteers who are putting that service together. Tomorrow, we have leading a substantial portion of the service, Mia Bagneris, Zev Arnold, Ben Horowitz will be our Torah readers, and Ellie Streifer will be offering Dvar Torah tomorrow morning. This is a service that we build together, and the last time we had this service, we filled this building once again with joy on Shabbat morning. It was fantastic. Followed by a communal lunch. So an open invitation if you've never been to join us for our Berina service tomorrow morning. It begins at 10:30 in this room.
So if you are new-ish, I really hope that you will stay for dinner, introduce yourself to the clergy and leaders on the bima and to the congregation at large. We're so happy you're here, and we'd love to help you find a Jewish home for the holidays and beyond. So welcome to those of you who are visiting. Our closing song, page 339, Hava Nashira. Come on, let's sing. That's what it means, literally. So please rise and come on, let's sing.
Hava Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Abba 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 Nashira, Shir Hallelujah, Shir Hallelujah. Abba. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen.